Good evening and welcome to Coach's Corner. I'm John Hevlin, and tonight we're going to be talking high school basketball. And to tip off the program, we have Coach Michael Snowbarger, which means we're going to be talking Smithville basketball. Coach, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
And I think probably most people know by now that you are district champions, but if they do not, congratulations.
Thank you.
And we will spread that word to everybody out there. Let's go back and maybe take you down tournament trail.
All right, our first game was against Manchester. Manchester was a pretty good team. I mean, they didn't get a lot of wins this year, but they were a team very streaky, and they played extremely hard with great tradition. And we were able to get by Manchester by 11, I believe, and that was a good game. They have a couple great players, and we were able to minimize their looks and contest a lot of shots. So that was a great win for us, and then that catapulted us on to Northwestern, who is traditionally always a very good team, very well-coached team, and we were able to maybe out-ugly them. I mean, it was an ugly basketball game. We did not play very well. You can credit that to Northwestern. They did a lot of things to take us out of things we wanted to do, so we ended up winning that by 5, but that was a great game. It was close all the way throughout. I believe we were down 2 at halftime. We were able to make a little bit of a run there in the second half to take the lead, but it was a great game, and you got to give credit to Northwestern. They're a team that, they were extremely scrappy, tough team, and, that was a great win for the program.
Well, let's go back just real briefly to Manchester, because that's a team that you had played during the season. Obviously, you had beat them, but again, sometimes the second time, or obviously the third time around, is not as easy as the first.
No, and it wasn't. Manchester, they play extremely hard. They do a lot of things offensively, and they got a great shooter in Bo Bennett, and they run him off a lot of double screens. And, our kids were able to recognize the double screens, help over them, and, contest every shot he attempted, and that was, like I said, a great win for us.
Well, and then let's move on. Northwestern would have been the third time you had played them, because you'd played them twice during the regular season.
Yeah, and beating a team 3 times extremely hard, and our kids kind of gritted it out there, and were able to make some plays down the stretch to help us with that victory.
Well, let's go on then. Those 2 wins catapulted you into the championship game, and again you faced an opponent in Norway that you had seen twice. Now this time the earlier results had not been as good.
Yeah, Norway got us twice in the regular season. First game was really close. Actually, the second game they beat us by 9, but it was a 4-point game with a minute to go, so it was a close game as well. And Norway jumped on us early. I believe they got up like 18-5 or something. And you got to give credit to our kids. You get down 18-5 against a team that's already beat you twice. Confidence can start going in there. Our kids could start doubting themselves, thinking a lot of things. So you got to give credit to our kids. They fought back. It was 7 points at halftime. And, at halftime we just talked about, yelled about, you got to get things a little at a time. We're not going to get it back, and, there's no 7-point shot. So, let's, chip away at it by the fourth quarter. Let's hope to be right there within striking distance. And we were actually able to take the lead going into the fourth quarter. So that was a great win for the kids. They really, made some huge plays down the stretch to, not only on the offense end, but the defense end as well.
Well, of course, for people that didn't see it, it went all the way to OT. You guys just couldn't get it settled in regulation, and everybody who was there sitting on the edge of their seats and nibbling their fingernails had to go through some extra minutes there before you finally pulled it out. So it was a tremendous ball game, and also talk about a full house. I guess they actually added some bleachers. That's the first time I've ever seen bleachers, extra bleachers in that gymnasium. So it was a heck of a crowd.
Yeah, it was a great crowd. They started wheeling in bleachers. I didn't even know they were doing it. And, I looked around and I didn't see many people standing. All of a sudden they put the bleachers, and all of a sudden those were filled up in no time at all. So, it was a great crowd, great for the area for basketball. They said just like 2,500 people in the place. And, you looked around and the place was packed. Everybody was on their feet cheering. It was high intense game. And, it was just great high school basketball for the area. It was just great.
Well, again, congratulations to you and the team. And I just have a feeling that now everybody in Wayne County will be uniting behind you as you move forward. And let's talk a little bit about what you have coming up.
Yeah, tomorrow night, Wednesday night, 6:15, we play Cleveland St. Joe's, who's, I mean, traditionally probably one of the top 2 or 3 basketball, schools in the state of Ohio every year, and traditionally dating back, they've always been great. I mean, they're always competing for a state championship. St. Joe's got a lot of great history with it, and this year is no different. I mean, they're a great team. They got 2 6'8" inside, and then they got a 6'4" kid that's Ashton Ward. He's going to Youngstown State, and he was the state player of the year last year. And then their point guard, Nate Barnes, who's a great player. I mean, he was their player of the year this year, and I mean, their district final game, I believe he had 28 in the first half. So he's kid that can, score it quick, and great shooter, extremely quick getting the ball to the basket. So, he's just going to have to play him straight up and hope to minimize some of his looks.
Let's talk about, for the fans out there that want to go to the game, here we are on Tuesday night. Can they get tickets tomorrow, like at Smithville, before they go over to Canton?
Yeah, Smithville's selling them pre-sale, and I believe we're selling them all the way up until the end of school tomorrow. So, you can get pre-sale there, which is key. You save $2 or something. I think at the gate they're $8. At pre-sale they're $6. So, yes, Smithville is selling pre-sale tickets.
Okay, then also, again, it is at the Field House, not the Civic Center, the Field House. And the time on the game?
6:15.
6:15. Don't want to be late. In terms of preparation, obviously it's been a long season. Guys have gone through some stressful tournament games, and yet you've got to at least keep them limber and keep them shooting. What do you do to kind of get them ready here for another big game?
We've got to do some things extremely hard. Yesterday in practice, we got after it pretty hard for it. I mean, we were probably in the gym just over 2 hours because, there are things we need to work on, things we need to get better at, and hopefully we can get better at them in the next day. It's a little bit, one of those things. It's not like we haven't introduced this stuff, but we need to polish up on some stuff. And we're trying to get better at things like that. And this, seeing the different looks that St. Joe's is going to throw at us. They're extremely aggressive, pressing, and in the half court, getting after it, and a lot of ball pressure. So a lot of times in practice, we're simulating it by going 6-on-5,
okay,
or bringing in some bigger, stronger men to play against us. To give us that look. So that's what we kind of been doing in practice yesterday, and we'll do it again today, and try to get the kids ready for a game-like situation.
Well, Coach, I don't know. Do you turn up a big record, too? Because I'm sure the crowd will be into it there. That's a nice venue for basketball. Will you have a chance to practice there at all?
No, they're not going to let us practice there. State rule, if another team plays there in the region, you're able to practice there. Since no team has played there, they said they're not opening it up for anybody to practice there. So It's not going to be a thing where we're going to get to practice there. But, Fieldhouse is a great place to play. It's one of the best places, I believe, in the state of Ohio to play. It's just the atmosphere, and when that does get packed, I mean, it's great. And it'll be a nice crowd. You got 4 teams there, all selling tickets, all coming. So, and then those schools or surrounding communities, I'm sure, will be supportive. So, it's a great place to play. And like I said, when it gets full, there's nothing quite like it.
I'm guessing that if you say there's 2 games at 6:15, you must be playing the first of the 2. Anything earlier than that wow, right after school.
Right. Yeah, we're playing the first game 6:15. The second game is Youngstown Ursuline and Pymatuning Valley, who are also 2 very good teams.
This may sound silly, but what do you do in terms of a pregame meal when you're playing that early? I mean, lunch was, probably noonish, but then again, you don't want the kids famished, but you don't want something sitting heavy on their stomach as they go into that 6:15 game.
Yeah, we've had great parent support all year long. I mean, the mothers, fathers, everything, they've been great at getting pregame meals, and tomorrow night's no exception. They're going to make a pregame meal for the kids right after school. And they all go to, a house and eat there and then come to the bus together. So, our parents have been great all year long in doing stuff like that, and that's what they're going to do tomorrow. I'm
sure you have had and will have a great fan base following you over. And obviously the team's going on a bus, but is there like a chartered bus or just people kind of gathering up and carpooling to get over to Canton?
I'm not quite sure. I know the school was looking at trying to get something together for a bus, and that was just being talked about yesterday. So I'm not sure if has been finalized. I try not to get involved in, little things like that.
You got enough on your plate.
Yeah,
sure.
So the coaches and the players, we really don't get involved too much in that. We let, the school handle it a little bit.
Well, Coach, one of the things that obviously has to happen when you get this far in a tournament is that you've had to kind of keep your kids healthy. And this year especially, it seems, I know teaching school, that I've had absences after absences after absences. I don't think I've had a full class in any of my classes since Christmas break, and it is tough. Now, have you been pumping your kids with extra vitamins or making them drink orange juice after practice, or keeping your fingers crossed?
We're keeping our fingers crossed. We implemented a few rules that try to prevent the sicknesses where, if we see kids walking outside without hoods on or hats on, they get to run the next practice. So, and the kids make a joke about it, but it's one of those things. It's just to try to prevent some things. And for the most part, we've been able to stay healthy. We've also been able to hide some injuries and sicknesses. I mean, we've had a lot of sicknesses along the way. That that kid might not have played major minutes in a game, or we tried to limit as much he played at all. I mean, and other kids picked up the slack a little bit. But it is one of those things. It's right now. It's everybody's healthy, and it's hard not to be healthy right now at this time of the year. So it's one of those things. Our kids are pretty tough kids where they're going to fight through a lot of stuff.
Well, I know that certainly you've been focusing on moving forward. At some point along the line, you'll get the opportunity to look back and relish what a wonderful season it's been. And let's give credit to Norwayne as well. 3 times you played. They beat you 2 out of 3, but you guys, I guess, came through when it counted here in the second season and have moved forward. But what a terrific battle it was this year. And you and Norway were not the only teams fighting in this league. To me, this league this year was probably one of the best it's ever been in terms of parity and just toughness.
Yeah, this league was extremely tough this year. Some of the records weren't the greatest, but I mean, every night, I mean, you were in a battle, especially on the road. I mean, on the road in the Wayne County League is not easy to get away with a win. And, we were challenged many times along the way, which has helped us come tournament time in those games. And Norway, you do have to tip your hat to them and Coach West. They had a great year. They were able to come up with some big wins along the way. And, they surprised some people maybe, but, looking at it preseason, they were a team that had a lot returning, and, Coach West got those kids playing extremely hard, and, they ended up turning out to be a great basketball team. So it's one of those things you do have to give credit to Norway.
Coach, I want to jump back again to St. Joe, your opponent tomorrow night. At this point in the season and here in the postseason, do you plan specifically, for them? I guess you've already mentioned some things that you have done, but are you going more with your game, as opposed to trying to figure out in this chess match what they do and then what you need to do?
Yeah, we're going to pretty much stick with what we've done. It's, a little late to be changing stuff now. There's going to be some little alterations to what we do, maybe, instead of everybody guarding everybody on the perimeter, we might have somebody always sitting in help side ready for dribble penetration, ready to help and stuff like that. So we're going to do those things where it's going to be a man, but it's going to be like a sloughing man off a couple people, and just alterations like that. We're not going to throw anything completely new at the kids or anything like that. We've been working on this stuff for 4 months, and that's what the kids are comfortable with, and that's kind of what we got to stick with and go into the game that way and see what happens.
With football, of course, that's only a once a week. Even when you get on into the playoffs, they will exchange game films. Do you rely at all on game films, if there are such, or is it more actually going to a game and scouting your opponents?
A little bit of both. Sometimes you can get lucky and have games on TV, and we've been able to tape a couple of St. Joe's games that have been on TV and get those and watch those, and going to watch teams is also definitely key. But it's a little bit of both. We don't exchange tapes. There's nothing like that we're exchanging tapes or he's giving me 2 and I'm giving him 2. It's you're on your own to figure out what you can about the other team, kind of thing.
Now, sometimes, again, going back to football, they'll say if you watch the tapes, you don't recognize the quickness of individuals or the speed, maybe overall team speed. But when you go in person, I think you do get a pretty good idea sitting there watching, how quick a team is, what some of their strengths are, maybe more so than watching a game film or a game video.
Yeah, and like St. Joe's, I mean, it's pretty easy to see how quick they are on TV also. I mean, it's one of those things, I'm watching TV, they're quick. And they're quick, I believe. If they're quicker in live, then I don't know. They're extremely quick because on TV they look to be very quick. They're a great team, great talented team. And it's going to be one of those things we're going to try to limit some of the things they can do and try to limit some of their great players and their touches and try to deny them and don't let them get the ball and see what happens.
Well, certainly in high school basketball, with no shot clock, you can vary the tempo. Obviously, in the pros and now in college with the shot clock, even if you don't want to play an up-tempo game, even in college, it's 35 seconds. You've got to get the ball thrown up. In high school, you could go a minute and a half if you wanted to and slow things down and maybe throw the opponent off a little bit, get them excited to where they come out and maybe commit a silly foul, something like that.
Mm-hmm. And with our team, it's kind of hard to do something like that because we haven't done it all year.
Okay.
And sometimes when you tell a team to slow it down and, delay it and stuff like that, take that as let's not score, let's not shoot. And you don't want to get the kids into thinking let's not score, let's not shoot. I mean, that's just one of those things. Sometimes that puts the kids in a tough situation because they haven't played like that all year.
Sure.
And when you take that aggressiveness away from them, you're going to take a little bit of confidence maybe away from them. So, I mean, we might be able to do that at times in the last couple minutes of a quarter or last minute of a quarter to do something like that. But to go into the game with that mindset, our kids they're not at their best with that. And, we just want to do everything we can do to put the kids in a position to succeed. And, we think attacking and being aggressive is what we got to do.
Sure, sure. Well, Coach, we have run out of time. We want to wish you and the team the very best. Again, tomorrow night, 6:15, Canton Fieldhouse, and beat the Vikings.
Thank you.
There you have it. We've been talking with head Smithville coach Michael Snowbarker. We'll take a quick break and be right back with more Coach's Corner. Welcome back to Coach's Corner. Joining me now is Coach Keith Snoddy, which means we're going to be talking Tri-Way Titan basketball. Coach, welcome to the program.
Thanks, John.
And I guess we need to wrap up the season, the tournament trail, and then maybe give some of the folks, including players and coaches and all the others, a little bit of a kind of a congratulations on a fine season. But Yogi Berra has that famous saying, deja vu all over again. And certainly it just had to be I don't even know how to describe it, but a tough loss the other night when you were playing there against Norwayne. Certainly it looked like maybe you guys had some tournament trail magic, Tri-Way magic going for you, and it did up to what, 1.7 or 1.8 seconds?
Yeah, well, and I think that did happen. I think our kids really, as I have said over and over in the last 3 weeks, that we've been pointing towards the tournament the last half of our season and the end of the year and really trying to make that our focus. And I think our kids did a great job of doing that. I think they came out with confidence. They believed they could win. They came out and played that way all 3 games. And, it's just hard, when you get that close and you've got an opportunity to beat a team that's, really good and has had a great season, and your kids sense it and to not quite be able to get that done, it's heartbreaking. I mean, there's no question about that, especially for the seniors that they know this is their last game. But, I'm really proud of what they did. I'm proud of the way they turned their season around at the end. I think they did regain some of the Tri-Way magic at the end of the season and some of the respect that we have around the community. Our kids handled themselves well, both in winning those 2 games, I thought, and in losing the last one. I thought our kids, lived up to their motto this year, which was that, basketball doesn't create character, it reveals it. And I think their character was revealed in that last game and the way they handled it. And I'm proud of them for that. And we're ready to move on. And, I really appreciate all the seniors and all the three seniors that we had and the work they did this year, because they had outstanding seasons.
Well, again, it certainly was an exciting season and an exciting game for you, an exciting postseason. And like you say, certainly no shame in losing to a Norwayne, a fine team that again took Smithville all the way to the final buzzer tied, and they had to go to OT. So had, again, woulda, shoulda, coulda, you might have been facing Smithville, and it might have been a different situation there as well. But a great game and overall a good season for the Titans.
Yeah, I think we came out and played well at the end. We kept getting better, and I talked about that all year long, and I thought our kids did that. And that's all you can ask of kids. You've got to be successful at the level that their potential is, and I thought our kids continued to strive to reach that potential, and that's all you can ask of them, and I was real proud of them. Our seniors, again, as we talk about them a little bit, Heath Clark was our leader.